Good morning, guys. Me, Rusty 78609, Central Texas, USA, putting his arm on his washing machine. I'm sitting on my patio here in Central Texas, USA, at my home base, wearing my Hollywood sunglasses. It's a perfectly clear day, and what a beautiful moon last night. Folks, I have to tell you, in Central Texas, that moon was, you could have driven down the highway without your headlights on. It was so bright. But be that as it may, I've got my green tea in my stainless steel mug. Temperature is probably 62 to 64 degrees, hardly any breeze at all. Again, perfectly clear. This is Tuesday, November the 15th, 2016. It's about 9:45 in the morning. And anyway, I just got food. I got back from my walk and had my breakfast about an hour ago. I know y'all care about all this crap, right? I got to talk to somebody. Might as well be you, right? So, uh, anyway, big day today as usual. I'm going to have lunch with an old friend of mine or acquaintance I've known for about, I'm going to guess 12 years, maybe more. First name is Tom. And I first met him when I was managing a little golf course, a little 9-hole golf course up here, just to have something to do. And anyway, he and I played golf together a few times, and over the years we've gotten to know each other. And you know, every now and then you meet a kindred soul, so to speak. And we've just kept in touch over the years. And so, anyway, I got an email from him. Nobody calls anymore. Got an email from him about having lunch over at Delaware Springs, which is a golf course. Oh, that's good. Good. I put a little honey in it, my green tea. But anyway, so we're going to have lunch today over at Delaware Springs Golf Course in Burnet, Texas, USA. And they don't have anything healthy on the menu. I promise you that. You can forget that. If it ain't fried or fattening, they don't have it. And so what I'll do, I'll order, I may get a hamburger. I haven't had a hamburger in a long time. So I may get me a hamburger and some French fries because I haven't had any of that. And God, I couldn't tell you how long it's been, a year or more. And I'll cut it in half. But anyway, what we do, we alternate buying. I mean, I'll buy today, and then a month or two or three, he'll contact me, or I'll contact him, and we'll have a lunch again, and it'll be his turn. But anyway, we call it a sanity session, and it occurs about every 3 months, 2 or 3 months. And we sit down. And before the election, of course, we had a sanity session. And now we'll have another one after the election. We're kind of common. We have a common feeling on politics. Of course, we're old. He's. I think Tom's about a year or two younger than I am. He could be. And but we're going to have lunch today, and that's a big event for me because hell, I hardly ever see anybody in my family anymore. And up here, I don't have. It's funny. You have friends, and we did. I had acquaintances, several of them for years, particularly when I was playing golf. But whenever the golf course sold, or excuse me, it didn't sell. They closed it. It was on Parks and Recreation land, and it was a concession run by a concessionaire. And anyway, that they bought his assets and then shut the whole operation down. So they just got where that 9-hole golf course was is just vacant land now, grown up in weeds. And every time I every time I grow by it, every time I go by it, God damn, every time I go by it, it gives me a pain because we had a lot of fun there. And that course was opened in 1955, and I expected it to be open for at least the rest of my lifetime. And I kind of planned my retirement around it because it was a really inexpensive place to go play golf, and it was, just a bunch of old ragtag guys. None of us were pros, and of course, we had our little bets, 25 cents or whatever. It was just, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. But you'd be surprised what men will do for a 25-cent bet. I'll guarantee you. Will they cheat? Shit. Without conscience. I mean, I promise you. You're supposed to play them down and put them out. You play the ball wherever it lies. Well, it's amazing how that ball will move. I guarantee you. They call it a foot wedge. You kind of reach down with your foot. Oh, here it is, and move it out. Yeah, here it is over here as you slide it out into a better spot. We all did it. We were all guilty of it. And but for 25 cents, there was a retired superintendent that played with us, a school superintendent, and he was a real competitor. I won't mention his name. And I remember one day, it was toward the last hole, and we played what you call robins. You change partners every 3 holes, and anyway, it was me and another guy, and we'd been tied all the way through. So you have these bets carrying over and carrying over and carrying over, and you get to the 18th hole, and you've got a pretty good stack of money added up. Not much, but a few dollars. And but anyway, me and my partner won. I mean, what it was, I had a long putt, as I recall, and somehow or another it found the hole, and he just died. I mean, he looked at me like I'd shot him with a rifle. And anyway, he had some quarters in his hand, and he just took them. He just threw them at me. At first I thought about picking them up and throwing them back at him, but I didn't. I just let it go because I knew that he was old. He was older than I was then, and he no sense getting into a confrontation over a few dollars. So I said, Earl, just chill out. I'm not going to kill you this time, but if it ever happens again, I'll break a putter over your head. Anyway, and that ended that crap. It pretty much ended that group. We had another guy that played with us from New York that had moved down here. And on one hole, it was a par 5. We always had a long drive contest. In other words, whoever got the longest drive won a quarter from the other players. And we usually had 5 in a group when we could get them, 4 or 5, because that made it more fun. And so, you're talking about $1. If you had the longest drive, you'd win 4 quarters or $1. Well, what happened was he had a good drive, and another fella had a good drive too. And we had the guy that owned the golf course at that time had a range finder. You could look through this little ocular scope and point it at the flag on the green, and it would tell you the distance. And it just, I don't know how it happened. It was just one of those things. Whenever you look through the device from one guy's ball and the other guy's ball, it read the same number. I mean, identical. And the guy from New York wasn't going to have that. He said, it's obvious that my ball's closer. And I said, man, it's not obvious to anybody but you. I mean, goddamn, it's just a quarter, man. Let it go. He said, well, I'm not going to let that happen. Goddamn, you son of a bitch, boy. He got all bent out of shape. And what happened was we finished that round of golf. He didn't win that long drive bet. We just let that go, called it a tie, and that was the end of that shit because, you can't argue with what are you going to do? You're going to let somebody just eyeball it and say, yeah, you're the winner. When you've got a device there, it's a little bit more scientific. And, we checked some other drives to be sure that there wasn't a problem with his device, and there wasn't. And so anyway, finished that round of golf, and he quit. He was a member of the golf course. He quit, and he never came back. Never came back. He was really what you would call a poor sport. I'm telling you. And with that, I'll have some more green tea. But anyway, as you can see, this is my RV behind me for you people that just fell into this spider web. This is a 26-foot Jayco J-Flight bunkhouse model. It's got two little bunk beds back on this side and a queen size bed in the front. It's really nice. For one person, me, it's a perfect way to live. I've got a aluminum cover over the RV, and I've got a 15 by 18 wooden deck. And yeah, it's home. I mean, I love it. It backs up to a big ranch behind me, or behind the camera. And no, it's very private, and I love it. I really do. I really enjoy it. And I don't plan on getting rid of this. I mean, I would imagine this will be my last home. I really do. I can't see me getting rid of this. I mean, there was a comment from a fellow that said, and it made a good point. Find you a place in New Mexico similar to what you've got, and you're there when you get ready to go traveling and camping. You're right there in the heart of it. He's absolutely right. And if I did find a place, uh, I might take a good look at it. Is it ill mannered to eat while you're doing a video? If it is, I'm sorry, because those things are good. But anyway, what else is happening? I did a video yesterday on that little burner I got. It works, by the way. I made some tea. I made some popcorn later on. The only problem with the popcorn was I used olive oil as the oil, and olive oil has a smoking point. I mean, it doesn't take much heat for it to start smoking. So I'll have to find another oil that's reasonably healthy or not too lethal. I know canola oil is no cholesterol, but canola cut canola oil is what do you call it? It's a genetically modified oil. Do I care? I'm not planning on using a gallon of it a day. I got some red wasps down here that have a nest under my patio. And of course, between the boards on the patio, there's a little gap about a half inch. And they fly up here on the patio and then go down those cracks to their hive. And I've told them 5 million times that as long as they don't bother me, I'm not going to bother them. But the first time one of them gets a little aggressive, then all of them are going to die. Well, they have what are called soldiers, or at least that's what I call them, and they're the lookouts for the nest. And whenever I come out on the patio, particularly in this area, because it's off to my right, the little soldier just kind of flies around and he'll disappear, and then he comes back, he comes back. He never lights on me though, but he's checking me out. He's never stung me or even attempted to, and I'm hoping that doesn't occur because I don't want. They've only got another month. When it gets cold, they're gone. What happens is the queen goes and somehow burrows into some wood or tree bark and survives the winter, but the rest of them lights out. They don't make it. But having said all that, where are we at here, folks? I'm just burning daylight, waiting to go on my little adventure and have a good conversation. I miss that. I miss playing golf. I probably ought to get back into it. I could. Some of them play, well, Tom, the only one. Well, let's see, there's two of them left that were in our group. They play over in Llano, Texas now, a little 18-hole city golf course. It's not very expensive. But the problem there is it's 30 miles one way to the golf course on a 2-lane highway. And old Bubba in that diesel dually doing his scowl and stuff sometimes drive 90 miles an hour. And they'll get right up on your bumper and I'm in a Prius. You got to know they hate that. And so I did it for a while right after the golf course closed, but I don't think I'll do it anymore. I've got a set of clubs. I mean, I could, and I enjoyed golf. I did. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I wasn't very good. I could break. Oh, I could play in the 80s. I'd be in the 80s all the time. The best round of golf I ever had was a 74, and that was at Delaware Springs. That's pretty damn good. That was my record. And but normally I'd carry about a 10 to 12 handicap for those of you that know anything about golf. And that's pretty good. It makes it fun. Whenever you can play better, a little better than what's called bogey golf, it's a lot of fun. And Anyway, guys, what else is happening? Of course, we've got our usual riots in the nation. I've never seen it. I wish, the media would shut up, or would have, I don't know how, well, they can't shut up because that's how they make money. And that's what's aggravating. It's a real catch-22. In order for them to satisfy their stockholders, they have to basically create riots to get the advertising rates up. I noticed that the New York Times lost nearly to 250,000 subscribers because of the illegitimate reporting they did during the election, or fraudulent reporting, however you want to say it. But they do that all the time. It's just that this time they got caught. I mean, as long as you don't get caught, you're not a criminal, right? So, be that as it may, it was a beautiful moon last night. Got a beautiful day today. I'm going to go have lunch, and I'm not sure what I'm going to have. And I know y'all are really excited about this video, folks. But when I run out of bullets, this is what you get. I mean, God damn. Oh, my. But, it does give me something to do, and that's why I do it. I mean, there's Tom Landry said this, God, back in the 60s, and I thought it was genius. He said there's 3 things you need for a perfect life: something to do, something to look forward to, and someone to love. And I thought, it's pretty damn close, isn't it? I mean, that's about as philosophical, or a true philosophical statement as I've ever heard. And it's been true all these years. I mean, I think about that every now and then. I've heard other sayings, but I like that one. Here's one. Bum Phillips, when he was coach of the what used to be the Houston Oilers back when, Bum Phillips was a character. I mean, they had to be careful when they were interviewing him live because he'd say anything. And one day they were interviewing him. Again, this was back in the 1960s. They were interviewing him live, and they said, Bum, his name was Bum Phillips, said, Bum, why do you take your wife to every football game when y'all are on the road? I mean, you're on the road quite a bit. He said, well, she's too ugly to kiss goodbye. God, he said that on national TV. Oh, God almighty. I'm sure he had a lot of bologna sandwiches after that. Anyway, thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye. I'll get out of your life now. Buy American made when you can. If you can't, do the best you can. I mean, that little old burner. In fact, I went back to Amazon to see if they made some in the USA. Coleman makes some, but, they're too big. I didn't want one that big. But be that as it may, when you can, take deep breaths. Do that often during the day. I don't mean hyperventilate, but it is good for you. And, stretch, just stretch, put your hands above your head, like this every now and then. It's just good for you. And you can do that all day long, even sitting in a house. Just, and stand up more than sit, take a walk. And the hardest thing for most people to do is quit watching TV, particularly network news TV, and don't listen to talk shows on the radio. Those are geared for one thing, and that's to get right inside your head. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Anyway, adios. Bye-bye.